So we have the 2005 Lotus Elise, and we're doing a rear brake job on it. There's a couple of tricks that I found when I was doing the other side that I wanted to share with you. Why don't you come in here? I'll show you. So if you take a look, we'll take off the brake wheel. Back it up. Put the wheel over here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this top bolt up here. Can you see that top bolt here? So I haven't done this side, so nothing's broken loose. So we'll remove this. It should come out fairly easily. So, now the instructions say to just slide this over, but it doesn't quite move so well. I find that the brakes get a little caught. I've checked the e-brake, they're not on. It also, you have to rotate the piston to get it to release, so we don't really want to just push on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bleeder valve. What the bleeder valve will do is help relieve some of that pressure. This is an 11 mil box. Just relieves it. Now most people know that brake fluid is water soluble, so if you get a little drip, it's not a problem, you can wash it off. Some people put a hose on there and run it down just to be a little extra clean. But by doing that, you can see it just loosens it up just enough. I can even take my pry bar, push on it just a little bit, and that'll help loosen it up. Let's see if we can. I'm going to be reusing these rotors, so I don't want to pull on them too much. There it goes.
Oh my god!
Alright. Now, you see how it's getting locked up right there? That's kind of the issue I was having with the other one. And the reason is because the brakes, the pads themselves, I have another pad here, the pad itself, you see this right here, is catching on the lip of the rotor. So, you know, if the rotor was perfectly flat, it would just slide off, but what's happening is it's catching on that lip right there, and it's not allowing it to release. And the inside also has a lip, so you can see it's just catching on it. So the Sector 11 instructions say to slide it open and then remove the pin. I found that if you remove the pin first, I'm using a 3/32 inch punch. It's a 1/8 inch hole, so if you have a 1/8 inch punch, you can use that. There's a small hole in the back that you can use, and just pop this pin out. And when you do, it releases that spring. You just want to hold that spring, put that aside with your pin and your punch. Now by doing that, what that allows is everything to just come apart. Allows you to take the pads out nice and easy. Now these pads were pretty good. The reason, if you see, I actually had a lot of good meat on these pads. But on the other side, the outside pad was not wearing so good. So I probably had, you know, thousands of miles left on these very expensive Brembo brakes, but these ones I probably had tens and tens of miles. So time to replace. Alright, so now that's done, and leave that bleeder valve open. I'm going to grab my long, can you see those? I'm going to grab my long needle nose pliers. Now what this does is it pushes in the piston. So what I got to do is I got to put it, can you see these holes in there? Look right here. Right in there. So that's the piston that pushes the caliper from the caliper and pushes the pads together. This is a floating caliper design, I believe. So if you stick that in the holes and push and twist, you should see the fluid flow out. Do you see the twisting action? Here, show the twisting action up here. No, back here. Back it up. Back it up. Show the. There you go. So the twisting action, and it is a clockwise motion. Now, if you look up in here, can you see up in here? Can you see up in here? If you see up in here, right there, you have the rubber boot. So the rubber boot, can you hold that? Hold that. So the rubber boot, we have to kind of push back in. You don't want that pinching when you put the new pads back in. So that's all set. So let's lock this up. I'm going to give a little push on it, and then I can close this up. Back it up, back it up. So can you see everything here? All right. So the second issue I found, these by the way are very inexpensive Wagner MX491s. MX491s by Wagner. I got them on Amazon for $19.99 with free shipping. So very inexpensive. So now these would just normally just pop right in. You would just stick them right in place. Make sure that they're free to slide. And looks like there's a little burr. Let's get rid of that burr a little bit. There's nothing there. Alright, slides pretty well. So the issue I found was with the shims, they don't go in just right. So I used a pick to pick off the shims. Just sit right here. Alright, so here, show this down here. So what I did was, as I took a pick, shoved it right in there. And they're just kind of glued on. And I only did this to the one, to the outside. The outside one is the one that stops the whole assembly from actually sliding back. The reason you need that is because you got to put this pin back in, and with the shim on it, it's just enough so that this can't slide back far enough to get back into the seated position. So put that back in. The other thing was, to make it easier on myself, was I actually left this pad in, made sure it slides, and put it back in the seated position first. Just kind of finger tight the bolt. Make sure it's sliding around. So it slides, the pad slides, everything slides. So then you can pull it all the way towards you and just ever so easily slide the new pad in. Once you have the new pad in, just kind of hold it together and take the pin and your spring push pin back in. Goes. Take the back end of the pump. Get it back into place. And that's good. Take your 17. And that's it. Everything moves pretty good. Everything's tight. Take a rag, clean it up. There you go. Pretty good. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we're all done. Whew. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comments, this is my first time doing it. I think I did pretty good. Probably something I missed, but I don't think so. It's fairly simple. See you later.